And his speech is called The Communication Connection. Now he's working out of Confident Communication Manual number 2, Organizer Speech. So we're looking for a strong opening and conclusion, an outline that can be followed and understood, clear message with supporting material, and appropriate transitions. Linda Failing is going to be operating as the primary coach on this, so let me introduce. So here we are again, we're transported as an audience. You are in a situation where you will be talking to people you don't know and you don't have a connection with. How do you make that connection? John will discuss how we process information and some simple steps to help us connect with other people. Please help me welcome John Barnes.
Imagine that you're an attorney. Sitting at your table in the courtroom is your client. In the box are 12 jurors, and you have no connection with them. But your job is to present your client's case to that jury and make that connection with them so that they understand and can make a decision that benefits your client. Today I want to share 4 things with you that I think will help as you try to make that communication connection. The first one I like to refer to is the 7% rule. This was done out of research at the University of California at Los Angeles, UCLA, by Albert Mehrabian. And in 1971, he wrote a book called Silent Messages. And in that book, he talked about our communication, our messages. And he had percentages that go with the message. First, based on his research, he determined that 55% of the message that you're presenting is visual. It's how you're dressed, the gestures you use, your facial expressions, how you present yourself. 38% of your message comes from the tone of your voice, the voice variation, what they're hearing. And only 7% of your message is the actual words that you say. So one of the things when you're wanting to make that connection is to pay attention to how you're dressed and how you look, how you move, how you present yourself. The second item I want to talk about comes from Dr. Thurman Fleet. He was a chiropractor out of San Antonio, and he developed what he called concept therapy. He developed the idea that in each of us, we have a map of reality. And our map of reality is made up of our experiences and our education. We have our beliefs and our values on our map of reality. So when we're communicating, in order to have a good connection, we have to have something in common, some common experience in our map of reality. Whether that be education or experience, there has to be something common there. So as an attorney talking to a jury, how are you going to talk to get that commonality on the maps of reality? The third item I want to talk about comes from a lady named Marita Littauer, who has a book called Communication Plus. And she has enlarged on her mom, who was Florence Littauer, who talked about 4 personalities. And the 4 personalities are the socializer, the director, the analyzer thinker, and the relator. Each of us in our personality have certain ways that we like to receive information, how we bring it in. For the socializer, you'll recognize them because they're the person that's the life of the party. And they like lots of colorful language. And they also like that affirmation, the action. They want to be the center of attention. So if you're going to talk to a socializer, you want to affirm them and you want to use a lot of color in the language, a lot of action in the stories that you're telling with the socializer to make that connection. For the director, and I'm a director, the director likes everything in bullet points. So when you're making your presentation, can you say, like today, I have 4 items that I want to talk to you about. That really makes the connection with the director. Third is the thinker or analyzer. And they really love to have things that they can go research after your speech or your connection is done. So if you can cite quotes, or you can cite books, as I have, that gives them something that when they walk out of the room, they're going to go do the research and make sure that you as the speaker have told them the truth. Finally, there's the relator. And the relator is a person that's very oriented to other people. And as example, I was at an open house here a couple of days ago, and one of my former employees in the state engineer's office was there, and he's a relator. And I saw his friend go up to him and said, "Oh, how's your wife? Tell me about your kids. I understand your daughter's playing basketball, and I saw that they really got beat bad the other night." And so he had that connection, and once that connection was made, then they could move on to other items. So when you're talking and you're making a presentation and you know that there's relators there, you need to somehow bring in the family or emotional aspects in order to make that connection. So anytime you're talking to a jury or you're talking to a crowd, you're going to have the 4 personalities involved, so can you construct your presentation or your speech to be able to hit all 4 of the personalities. And the fourth and final item I want to talk to you about today is the fact that as human beings, we all remember in pictures or images, not in letters and words. As an example, I was in a memory class, and one of the things that they wanted us to do was remember what they were terming brain food. And so one of the things is they wanted us to remember was walking in oil and feeling that oil squishing between our toes. Because one of the brain foods is canola oil. Another brain food is broccoli. And so they wanted us to imagine our shins, because we were tying this to body parts. Imagine broccoli growing out of our shins. Green broccoli. The third food was walnuts. So they wanted us to think of our thighs as sacks of walnuts, and that those walnuts were active and they were moving, so you could see lumps on your thighs. And the fourth food was salmon. And they wanted us to imagine the tail of a salmon sticking out our rear end flapping. And that's how we do remember the salmon. So again, as you're talking, remember that people remember images and they remember action. So I've given you 4 items to think about as you prepare your next speech, to talk to a crowd that you know nothing about, that you want to make that connection. Think about how you're dressed. Think about the maps of reality. Think about the personalities you're dealing with. And think about the images that you want to leave your crowd with. And if you can pull those 4 things together, just like the attorney, you're going to connect with your crowd And for the attorney, it is his jury. Mr. Clerk,